You follow the rules, you put in the effort. But while everyone around you seems to be moving at a different speed, your life feels like it's been set to pause. You are watching the world accelerate, while you remain exactly where you were a year ago. Part of this frustration comes from what we see every time we look at a screen. We are constantly exposed to the end results of other people's long, difficult journeys. We see the final victory, the sudden wealth, or the massive audience. This graph represents the reality of the overnight success illusion. Most of us focus on that one bright dot at the end, the moment the world finally noticed them. But when we sweep back the curtain, we find hundreds of darker dots. Each one represents a day of invisible work, a failed experiment, or a quiet night of doubt. Look at any successful trajectory, and the pattern remains identical. There are no gaps in the sequence. No one skipped the foundational phase. They just didn't have a camera running while they were doing it. We feel like we're falling behind because we are comparing our raw, unedited process to a finished, polished product. We are measuring our day 1 against someone else's year 10 and finding ourselves lacking based on an incomplete dataset. When progress feels this difficult, we tend to pull back into what we know. This isn't a character flaw or a lack of ambition. It is your brain's primary function to keep you safe and predictable. New actions represent risk, and risk triggers an internal alarm. The state of being comfortable and the state of growing are neurologically opposed. Growth requires a level of uncertainty that the brain's safety center is designed to avoid. You cannot find new results while remaining within the psychological boundaries that keep you feeling secure. To prevent you from crossing that line, your mind creates a very convincing defense, the idea that you should wait for the right time. This manifests as a list of logical requirements. Start once the busy season ends, once your bank account grows, or once you feel ready. These aren't plans, they are sophisticated delay tactics. That feeling of being ready is a moving target. If you wait for it, you are effectively letting your brain's survival instinct dictate the limits of your life. Real change begins at the exact point where the timing feels wrong. Starting before you have the answers creates a momentum that waiting can never produce. If this breakdown of the mind's patterns is helping you see things differently, subscribe to the channel. Every week we look at the psychological mechanics behind why we stay stuck. Even when we feel the urge to move, we often freeze because we imagine a crowd watching us. We worry about the judgment and the comments that will follow if our first attempt isn't perfect. This diagram shows the reality of human attention. Every person in your social circle is a node in this network, and almost all of their cognitive energy is directed inward. They are preoccupied with their own careers, their own mistakes, and their own fears. They have very little bandwidth left to spend on yours. If we manage to stop worrying about others, we often become our own harshest obstacle through all-or-nothing thinking. We decide that if we can't be perfect, there's no point in trying at all. This is why a single missed gym session or one unhealthy meal can lead someone to abandon a month of progress. We let a minor slip-up invalidate the entire goal. Effective progress looks like this graph. The reality is jagged and inconsistent, full of local failures and bad days. But if you keep showing up, the smoothed trend line, the one that actually matters, continues to move in the right direction despite the volatility. Consistency is what builds a life, not perfection. A messy, imperfect effort that continues for a year will always yield more than a perfect effort that only lasts a week. The most persistent, invisible trap is the one we build for ourselves, the identity ceiling. This is the unconscious limit we place on what someone like us is capable of achieving. Your brain uses a filter to maintain your current self-image. If you believe you are naturally unlucky or untalented, your mind will prioritize information that confirms that belief. It treats positive results as accidents, bouncing them off the filter. When we change that core shape, the way we define ourselves, the filter changes too. Opportunities we previously ignored suddenly become visible. The boundaries you feel today were constructed from past experiences and old labels. They will remain in place only as long as you continue to look for evidence that directly supports them. Whether the overnight success illusion, the myth of the right time, or the trap of perfectionism, These barriers are all built from the same psychological material. Because they are products of the mind, they can be dismantled by the mind. You aren't stuck. You are simply navigating a system you weren't aware of. Now that you understand the mechanics, you can start to change the way you respond to them. Subscribe to Insight Psychology, and let's keep going.